first step to sewing our shorts or pants together is to sew the inner leg seam. As you guys remember, my fabric just has a one-sided fabric. There's not a pattern, so I marked a big X on the wrong sides of my fabric, so that will help me when I'm sewing things together. So you're just going to take each piece separately. You're going to fold the fabric in half with your right sides together, and you're going to match up your inner leg seam. And so this is one pant leg, and this part down here is my inner leg seam. If I'm making pants, my inner leg seam is obviously going to be very long. So this will go from the crotch of your shorts down. And this area up here is not going to match up. One of these is the back and one of these is the front. So don't worry that those two pieces don't match up. All we're worried about matching up is from here to here. So we want to go ahead and pin our fabric together, making sure that we are matching our inner leg seam. And so the reason we pin is so when we're sewing, it does not move on us. We are going to be sewing this with the inner leg seam together with the serger on a 1/2 inch seam. And so we're going to need to make sure that we remove our pins prior to sewing. So once we have these three things pinned, and we're going to do that to both pieces, then you'll have the teacher check. A couple of reminders before we start using the serger machine is that you turn on all of the machines here on the table to the right of the machine. Your lights are adjustable, so you can move them to wherever makes sense for you. When you are done sewing, you want to make sure that you leave your threads long, so that way the needles do not become unthreaded. To sew my inner leg seam together, I am going to line up the edge of my fabric with the 1/2 inch mark that's indicated on the serger. And I'm going to make sure to remove pins as I go. And I'm going to kind of set it as an angle, so that way I keep the edge of my fabric on that 1/2 inch mark as I'm serging. I am doing a contrasting thread so that you guys can see my examples pretty well. They're threaded with just white or black because these are going to be inside of your pants. So it doesn't really matter what color they are. And as you can see here, now I have sewn the inner leg seam of my pants. I've followed that curve that kind of kicks out at the bottom there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do that to my second leg, inner leg seam. Again, remembering to remove the pins before I get to them, and following the curve of the seam.